Event 360 with Fafali is powered by Soulmate Events GH.
What makes an event successful? Is it the location, the entertainment, food, or the set designer? Today on Event 360, we'll be taking the journey of having a successful event. I am your host, Fafali, and welcome to the show. My guest today is the CEO of 3 Media Networks, operators of music media brand 3MUSIC, as well as the annual 3MUSIC Awards, in the person of SADIQ Abdullahi Abu.
Are you in search of great event organizers for your occasions? Then, Soulmate Event GH is the right place to look for. Soulmate Events are trainers in event management service, event decor, event rentals, and event catering. You can locate Soulmate Event at King Solomon in Dansuman and the Dansuman Market Square. For more enquiries, contact Soulmate Events on 0540 430 424 or 0203 266 081, or check them out on Instagram at Soulmate Events GH. Soulmate Events is a one-stop place where we take total care of your events.
Welcome back to the show. If you just joined, the show is Event 360 with Fafali. And our topic for today is how to have a successful event. And with me in the studio is SADIQ Abdullahi Abu, CEO 3MUSIC. Congratulations, SADIQ, on your recently held 3MUSIC Awards.
Thank you very much.
I guess it was successful.
Well, largely it was. Obviously, on the basis of the plan or what we are intended to, we will say it was successful.
It was. The applause was big.
Thank you
all
very
over
much.
the place. Everybody was talking about it.
Thank you very
Congratulations
much.
again.
Thank you.
How can you tell an event will be successful? Because past years we've witnessed major event flops. How can you tell from the beginning that this event would be successful?
Well, it would to a large extent depend on the planning. Okay. But obviously for every event, it starts from the ideation and then the planning process.
That's right.
And so from your planning process, that's when you have an idea, the challenges that you have and how successful your event will be, because it's at that point, it's like the heart or the engine of event planning. You know, so I mean, it would to a large extent depend on the planning or what goes into it and the idea.
Oh, okay. So what makes 3MUSIC stand out? Would you say you are forced to reckon with when it comes to these things?
Well, I would say that what makes it stand out is the fact that it's a group of ambitious people that like to push the envelopes. And so that's what makes it stand out from, everybody else. But most importantly, I would say that, the decision or the measurement of whether we are forced to reckon with will solely largely remain with the audience.
To judge, is that it? That's fine.
You know, but
let's check out some excerpts of the just ended 3MUSIC Awards. We'll be right back.
The 4th Annual 3MUSIC Awards 2021. Woo!
We sing this song together. Woo! Hey. Oh. Hey. Oh. Hey. Oh. Hey. Woo. Hey. I should be more. Ooh. Nanka bene na yoya.
Are you in search of great event organizers for your occasions? Then, Soulmate Event GH is the right place to look for. Soulmate Events are trainers in event management service, event decor, event rentals, and event catering. You can locate Soulmate Event at King Solomon in Dansuman and the Dansuman Market Square. For more enquiries, contact Soulmate Events on 0540 430 424 or 0203 266 081, or check them out on Instagram at Soulmate Events GH. Soulmate Events is a one-stop place where we take total care of your events.
Welcome back to the show. I'm in the studio with SADIQ, the CEO of 3MUSIC, and we are discussing how to make an event successful. Is budget anything to do
with successful events?
with
Yes.
successful events?
Yes, I mean, yeah. You've got to have the budget. I mean, events on the scale that I usually work with or work on usually do require some heavy budgets or big budgets. So, yes, budget is a very integral part of event planning or how events do turn out.
Does it normally go, or you go over budget and had to pump in more money?
Yeah, I mean, there's been instances where you've got to go over budget, where you've got to exceed your initial budget, but it's often not a moment everybody likes.
Okay.
That's why a lot of the deeper planning and extent to which you go will to a large extent give you an idea of the budget, but just sometimes you would have to expend a bit beyond the original budget that you set out. But budgets and the spend of it, I mean, goes a long way to assess how successful an event becomes or not.
With the glam that we saw on TV, on the show, I can tell money is really going in.
Yeah, I mean, it
Can you let in us a bit?
Well, I mean, it did require a lot of money. For a lot of people that do work on events, they will tell you, I mean, the logistics do cost a fortune, and some of these logistics have daily cost on them. And so if you're taking them for multiple days because you're having to set up days before the main event, it means that that's a lot of money. And beyond that as well, there are various different parts of the event that did require money. You've got to book a location for a number of days. You've got a team of sound, lights, or the visual team working on it. That requires a bit of money. You've got the talent that required money as well. And in our case, where you had to do a lot of pre-packaged content as well, it did require a lot of money. So there are many moving parts to the event that requires you to actually expend heavily. And this did require us to actually spend heavily.
To actually spend.
Yeah.
What are some of the hurdles, apart from money, some of the hurdles that you encountered during this particular?
I think for me and my team, our
as
major...
an event organizer.
Yeah, I think for me and my team, our major hurdle has been money. But most importantly, it's been for the kind of ambition and the drive that we have, just sometimes the venues. But of course, I mean, you've got to make do with the current venues that exist. Because some of the venues do give you the opportunity to activate your ideas in the ways that you want it. You know, but obviously, when you look at a lot of the reference points that we look at abroad and everything, you realize that aside the budgeting, to a large extent, the venues they had also did contribute to how they were able to actualize ideas. You know, I'll say that I don't think we had a problem with personnel, because we had the best of the best really helping working with us across lights, sound, audiovisual, actual event coordination, pre-production, and all of those things. We put together a very crack team of very effective people to do that for us, and so we never did have a problem with that. But money obviously had always been
there.
a problem. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You also talked about planning, which is also very important. Can you also mention a few other elements, which is the core to having a successful general event, any event, not necessarily what you did?
Well, the idea, and then fine-tuning the idea, fine-tuning the idea, and obviously having an idea of the target that you're looking to target.
Yes.
There are different types of events.
The end results that you're looking at.
Exactly. Wedding events are different from concerts.
Sure.
Concerts are different from awards events.
That's right.
Awards events are different from banquet or state banquet events. Banquet events are different from, so there are different types of events. They're different, I mean, banquet events are different from carnivals. And so having an idea what kind of event you are looking to put together will to a large extent determine what goes into it. And so determining what kind of event you're organizing is obviously the first step. And then the second step will be to fine-tuning the idea and then begin to plan how to effectively execute the event. And in planning, there's different elements that you would require depending on the event. Is it a daytime event? Is it a nighttime event? Is it an early morning event? Is it an event that require you to serve a 3-course meal, for instance? You know, so all of this to a large extent would determine. So the idea and determining what kind of event you're looking to put out is also a very important component of it. It's actually one of the first steps, even prior to the planning of it. But the planning is really the engine of it. That's where you really have to plan, and then there's obviously after planning the coordination, because after planning and determining who and what will go into the event, you've got to coordinate it to ensure that everything comes according to the plan and what you designed it to be. Right.
And you also have your plan Bs.
Yeah, I mean, in planning, you would obviously know that if this doesn't work, obviously I'll require to this. And obviously, even when you come to the coordinating stage, you would begin to realize that which will work and that will not work. You'll begin to realize the vendors that will be, because then it's during the coordination stage that you make the reaching out. Exactly. You find out that, oh, vendor A is probably booked. What do you do? Perhaps the vendor A is your top priority vendor A. Exactly. What do you do? Then you will have to fall back on vendor B. You know, and obviously beginning to think around things. So if you were originally going to use electricity, and knowing fully well that there could be light off or anything in that manner, if you begin to plan for a plan B, which is, okay, do we need a gen set? Do we need to buy extra fuel? What do we do? And so it's during the coordination stages that's when you begin to know that which may work or that which requires a plan B, just in case you are left with no option at a very
SADIQ, let's just hold. The conversation is getting good. And let's check out a few interesting things from the just ended 3MUSIC Awards.
The 4th Annual 3MUSIC Awards 2021.
3MUSIC. Hey. Hey. At the end of time, honey. We shall yeah. Hey. Woo. You ready? Everybody, let's go. Hey.
What time yeah? Na me who? Na me self lazy goose. What time yeah? Na me who? Three so I pass a ludu. What time yeah? Na me move. Where you be swagoo mu? Child tiny draw. What to me do cry me mu? What time yeah? Na me who? Na me self lazy goose. What time yeah? Na me move. Three so I pass a ludu. What time yeah? Na me move. Where you be swagoo mu? Child tiny draw. What to me do cry me mu? What time ya be bro to? What can cry na me hey? What time ya be bro to? What can cry na me hey? What time ya be bro to? What can cry na me hey? What time ya be bro to? What can cry na me
Let's go. Me too young, but I rap too. Mostly pick one, but I can't choose. DB boy, why day streets? No, if you put yourself in my church shoes. I push track, then reports me. The track blow when they block me. Me flow there at your old school, but go ask Bill what them cost be. Me shit Casper, me a summer. I see me see any bye bye. It be hate if you affects me and cat. Remit boy to me see that. I know say they say you. Tell them say you don't see me. Fool, bad boy. Did he say won't see you? Bongo tell him.
What time ya be bro to? What can cry na me hey? What time ya be bro to? What can cry na me hey? What time ya be bro to? What can cry na me hey? What time ya be bro to? What can cry na me What time yeah? Na me who? Na me self lazy goose. What time yeah? Na me who? Three so I pass a ludu. What time yeah? Na me move. Where you be swagoo mu? Child tiny draw. What to me do cry me mu?
Ya suma me dia chere wo Mushale hey okay 10 people 3MUSIC
hey
Are you in search of great event organizers for your occasions? Then, Soulmate Event GH is the right place to look for. Soulmate Events are trainers in event management service, event decor, event rentals, and event catering. You can locate Soulmate Event at King Solomon in Dansuman and the Dansuman Market Square. For more enquiries, contact Soulmate Events on 0540 430 424 or 0203 266 081, or check them out on Instagram at Soulmate Events GH. Soulmate Events is a one-stop place where we take total care of your events.
Welcome back to the show. It's still Event 360 with Fafali, and we are with SADIQ, the CEO of 3MUSIC. SADIQ, how is funding like? Is it easy to come by?
Well, funding for public events have never been easy.
It is
public events do require you to raise a lot of sponsorships, and it's not easy, particularly if you're looking to push the envelopes in the ways that we're looking to push the envelopes, because it's expensive, and if you don't get a number of brands coming together to give you the total amount of funds that you're looking for to create that experience, it's going to be difficult. So you've got to be able to find different brands to put it together. But it's usually very difficult. And so funding in the last 4 years for the 3MUSIC Awards has been very difficult. It's different from private events. Exactly. Private events, people do pay for it, and so they'll give you the funds for it. People pay for their weddings, people pay for their private parties and all of that. But public events usually require you to, there are different ways about it. Either you raise sponsorships or you sell tickets. As well as recouping the investment that goes into the event. It's usually quite difficult, particularly around this time when COVID has hit every brand and every place. Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, so it's quite difficult.
It was difficult.
Yeah.
So were you able to?
No. In terms of the revenue wise, it was a loss.
You couldn't recoup.
Yeah, it was a loss. But like I said, when you're planning events, the idea and the plan would to a large extent determine what exactly you're looking for.
Exactly.
So yes, revenue is one major part of it, but even if you're not able to make the revenue and then you're able to hit, 100% on the brand equity.
Everybody knows now SADIQ is good and he can take care of any good.
So that brand equity and reputation is very important for continued business for the business.
That's right. I want to find out from you how you manage the red carpet and the main event.
Well, they require all of it are events in its own thing, so they require you to have multifunctional teams as much as possible.
Okay.
So there was a team that was in charge of in our case we call it a drip carpet.
Drip carpet.
The drip carpet and the flavor room, which was packaged in one, and then the actual event itself. And so, I mean, so you would realize that you had like a different camera team for the red carpet, you had a different camera team for the main event, even though it's happening at the same places. Regardless, all of it are bits are all different elements of the event that require different people to work on it. And so, but like I said, the planning stage and when you get to the coordinating part is what will direct you.
Exactly. So in this case, you have a multifunctional staff who do this and that.
Exactly. For the event, you've got your core internal team, and then there's a lot of external teams that you rely on. You know, so a lot of the people doing some of the camera work, doing the sound, lights, and everything are all from different companies that help to, you know, produce the event.
Beautiful. Right. It's COVID season. What has inspired you to still go on with it, considering that there will be no...
I mean, the desire to keep the brand fresh, the desire to continue to maintain the brand equity. We all know what's happening around this time, but we're also hopeful that in some months to come, we'll all get out of the woods and things will become normal. By such a time, our quest is that the brand equity and all the goodwill and reputation that would earn would, to a large extent, contribute to our success at that particular point. And so it was a decision to take the fall this time around, and most importantly, aim for the future. And so that's what we did. Most importantly, we had to comply, and so we couldn't have people in there. We knew that, but we had to create a virtual event and ensure that it was an exciting virtual event. So, you know, in future, the brand equity and the reputation that we're going to generate will, to a large extent, contribute to our success in the future.
Wow, that shows how visionary you are, futuristic.
Yes.
You're looking at the future,
exactly.
What you'll get. That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Is it true that when the curtain drops down, then that's the end of the event? Is that what it is?
No. I mean, for the audience that are at the event and also for the audience that are home, for them, that's the end of the event.
Okay.
But for the people involved, that's actually the beginning of another process of the event.
Wow.
So there's what we call the event report. Also because it's an event that happens annually. And there are different parts of it. It's important that for the team that worked on the event, we know that which worked, that which didn't work, where to improve on things, you know, ahead of not only next year, but also for the projects that the team will be working on later on in the year.
As a follow-up.
As a follow-up. So for us as a team, it's actually the beginning of another process where you finish up, there's what you call the strike down, where you're beginning to strike down each and every element of the event, that the physical element of the event. When you're done from that, there's a team that will take care of that. Often the teams are coming from the vendors. And then after that, there's the event reports where you engage each and every different part of the event and the people that are involved to put together what you call the post-event reports. After the post-event report, you do different meetings on it, so that everybody would be able to understand and make the necessary recommendations ahead of the future. So it begins another process of the event, which all contributes to how effective the team stays.
The next one would be
the next event, and then how effective the team stays on different subsequent events.
Has there been a situation, an occasion, where you have really thought of giving up on event and 3MUSIC Award?
Well, not yet, but obviously there's been low times, there's been low moments, there's been points where, I mean, the challenges really hit you hard. But in the ways that we've worked, and given my temperament, I'm not one to readily give up on things. I'm one to keep on keeping on till I can't anymore. But I don't think I've gotten to that point yet. But obviously, I mean, there are major challenging parts of the event that makes you feel low, or there are low moments of the event. As and when it comes, there's always a way for us to deal with it. And that brings to mind the psychological processes events people do go through. It's a very high challenging event that requires a lot of emotional support, psychological support, and all of that. And so, I mean, the way we stay ahead of it is to understand a lot more things that will pan out. And so it's some of these things that will come are expected, and so you try to find ways around it.
So you psyching your mind as to this is what I want, so I'm going for it. Makes you stand in the game.
Exactly, because once you are at that psychological point, during the planning and coordination stages, you know that which will throw balls at you or cares at you, and how to meander your ways in that instance. And so it's kind of the psyching yourself helps you to stay ahead of it and be on the lookout for some of these things. So when it comes, regardless the impact or the hits that it hits you, you are able to work around it and limit or mitigate the impact of it on the overall success of the event.
Oh, beautiful. What are the trends now? With Corona, we don't know when it's going yet. We need to be in business.
There are a lot of trends. Obviously, virtual event became a popular thing in the space. It looks like between now till when we come out of Corona, we'll have a bit of a hybrid of a virtual event, strictly virtual event, or a hybrid of virtual event, and then some bit of an audience. But I mean, beyond that, we are certain that if the situation persists, we definitely would have to come out with another innovation on how we can go about it. But virtual event will be a mainstay.
That is what it looks like.
Exactly, and then obviously a hybrid of a virtual event and a live event with a limited audience as much as possible will be there till we come out of it when we can freely hold events in the ways that we're used to, But quite certainly, this is how the terrain will look like till we come out of Corona.
Thank you, SADIQ. It's been an interesting conversation. We are grateful for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Event tip of the day. In order to understand whether you made the right moves, you need to have smart objectives. You will be able to measure your effectiveness during and after the event. Viewers, that is our event tip for the day. Before we wrap up the show, SADIQ, do you have any final words for my viewers?
Well, my final words will be something that's captured in a mantra that I've always had, which is that no guts, no glory. It's something that I've always...
No guts,
no glory.
No glory.
And so for a lot of people working in events and in challenging environments such as this, just understand that no guts, no glory. Go with your guts sometimes, but use your head mostly.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful show. Remember, no guts, no glory. See you again next week. Bye-bye.